It was a big week for the box office. Nearly 100 million tickets were sold in theaters, pulled in close to $600 million. That is almost 30% of the total revenue for the year so far. Almost all Chinese theaters are now open, but capacity is still limited to 75%. Joining me now is Jamaal Finkley. He is the CEO and executive producer of BlackTree TV. So Jamaal, 75% still pretty good. But a few days ago, a major U.S. theater chain announced that it was suspending operations again. But as you saw, China's theaters are back in business. So you think China is going to keep Hollywood alive?
I mean, at this point, between streaming options and China, it is the only way to keep Hollywood alive. I mean, here with Regal Cinemas taking the big hit, Regal's owned by Cinema World, 536 theaters here in America have closed until further notice, mostly because of the pushback of the James Bond film, which set a precedent for the theaters to not take a bigger loss than they were taking this year. So they cut their losses and closed. And without the theaters in China, I think the industry here would be, the box office would pretty much be shut down.
Yeah, we saw something similar earlier a few months ago. Some studios just releasing straight in China, but not in the U.S., with Disney's Mulan, for example. Talk to us about some of the behind-the-scenes conversations taking place in Hollywood right now and the thinking behind these kind of moves.
Well, a lot of, besides the fact that the calendar for 2020 is now filling up 2021, which is pushing movies back to 2022, it's just a long pause here. Everybody's hoping that by the beginning of the year that we'll see new changes and new openings, but right now, especially here in Hollywood, everything is shut down. We can't screen a movie or anything in any theater here. So movies like Tenet, which made its pandemic premiere in March, barely cracked 46 million here domestically. And without the help of the China box office and the worldwide box office, it would have never made it to 300 million, which is far below what it was predicted to hit before the COVID crisis hit us.
Now, for years, we have seen studio partnerships between Hollywood and Chinese companies. What has COVID-19 done to any co-productions that were happening up until COVID hit? And, of course, the relationships between those companies?
I mean, with the box office in China being open, it makes sense for movies like Mulan, which was targeted to that area to be produced. So I think right now, if the pandemic goes on longer, much longer, then there will have to be a lot more films that are targeted to that area, so that the Hollywood box office could partner with these Chinese movie theaters and have the studio box office audiences to attend. So if they don't make co-productions or films that are of interest to the Chinese audience, I don't think that it'll be a smart move to release it theatrically until we get a hold of the pandemic.
Yeah, $600 million again in China for the past week, Golden Week. What is your outlook for China's box office?
I mean, I think the Chinese box office, with all those theaters being open and with China doing a better job of managing post-pandemic crisis, I think that the Chinese box office is going to continue to be what Hollywood would wish to be. I mean, I think all the movies that's going to come out there is going to do really well, but still with the Hollywood pushing back so many of its major releases, I'm not sure how the trickle effect is going to happen. Besides the fact that 45,000 employees for Cineworld and Regal are now out of work also, which is going to, affect our economic situation out here also.
All right, Jamaal Finkley, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.